Okay, there we go. Hey guys, how you doing today? Happy Friday. It's a beautiful summer day. I hope everyone has an opportunity to get outside and get some sun today. So, I wanted to talk to you today about a new skill, a new feature that was just rolled out as part of Anthropic's Claude, which is record a skill feature. And this is super powerful because it used to be a big part of my job to sit down with different teams across product ops and tech and actually map out their workflow, map out what they do so that we can come up with a technology solution to help them to more automate their process or their workflow for two reasons. The first reason was to reduce their administrative task and effort, and the second reason was to reduce errors so that um, the having it systematically or programmatically run will ensure that there's less kind of human error. I know that's kind of tough to hear sometimes when people say that, less human error, but that's a lot of what I did for many years. And that's why I'm so excited about this skill. They just dropped it a day or two ago. I checked it out. I absolutely love it. I am sure that it's going to come out for OpenAI's ChatGPT soon, and then the other providers. Right now, Claude is the first to drop it, and I noticed that Anthropic does this a lot. They will come out with something first, or maybe not come out with it first is the right word, but they'll release it the quickest, and then all the other providers will follow suit. But what I am also noticing is that while Claude is releasing the fastest, the most comprehensive release that seems to work the best is ChatGPT. And that's just what I'm finding across their models, across things like co-work, across their live transcription voice features. I'm just finding that ChatGPT is more comprehensive and better, but Claude is definitely dropping things first, such as this record a skill feature, which is what we're talking about today, what I'm so excited about. So it's very simple. What you're going to do is think about your process, whatever your process is. Are you going to a internet page? Are you opening up a browser? Are you downloading information? Are you uploading information? Are you filling out a form? Are you taking that information and updating a spreadsheet, updating a PowerPoint presentation? Are you then saving that somewhere within a file directory or network storage? Whatever the process is, you kick off the recording. It's very simple. You just hit the record, and while you're recording, you also want to talk to it too. So the best way is to pretend like someone is sitting next to you at your desk and they're taking notes, and you're literally walking them through the process. So you're going to say, okay, we're going to open up a browser, and now we're going to go to this web page and we're going to fill out this form. And then after we fill out this form, we're going to download this information. We're going to save that information here. This is how we're going to save the information, and it's all dynamic, so it knows the difference between static and dynamic variables, and it's going to update everything. And when you're talking to it, it's picking that up, and then it creates an entire transcript, and it creates a skill, and then you just run the skill, and whatever process you were doing, it'll just run that process for you. Now, of course, like everything else, it's not without error. You got to look at it a couple times. You got to run it a couple times. You got to tweak it. Doing these things in a testing environment is always best, because if you have a full testing environment set up, which I would recommend you do, you can test it in a UAT kind of fashion, and you can try and break it and try and throw different scenarios at it so that it can encounter everything before you say, okay, this is ready. I can release this to production, and it's fully automated and it works. So whether you're doing this for your personal business or you're part of a medium to large scale company, always having a way to test it and throw different scenarios at it to see if it can break is smart. Um, but yeah, that's it. It's very powerful because it's more than just writing out an SOP, a standard operating procedure. It's more than just recording your screen. It's actually creating a repeatable skill that you can use in a workflow, and it'll whatever work you were doing, it'll just do all of that stuff for you. Um, you can take that skill like you would any other skill, and you can set that skill to run inside of a scheduled event, or you can say, I want you to run every day at 9 a.m., or whatever it is. So you once you have it recorded and configured, you don't call it and execute it. You can just have it automatically run at 9 a.m. And then it's running in the background, and it just delivers the results for you. Like I said, the first couple times you want to run it, you want to double check everything. You want to throw some scenarios at it so that you try and break it so it doesn't break on its own. You want to make sure you're thinking through the scenarios in which it could break out, and put, put it in, it won't. And the only is just by getting going. It does. Like, for example, when you programmatically write an if then statement, or if you programmatically write a loop, it's going to run that if then statement. It's going to run that loop. It's going to run that sequence no matter what. And it's always going to work. The only way it would not work is if something in the environment changed, and that's it. With the AI skills, it's a little different. Like, sometimes it'll work 4 or 5 times in a row perfectly. Nothing will have changed, and then all of a sudden it doesn't really work the way you intended it to. It kind of works. So you want to check all that stuff out. The reason why I'm telling you all these details, and I hope that this isn't too much detail for you here, but I'm telling you because what I'm trying to say is, while it does work and it is amazing and I'm very excited about it, do not think for 1 second that you can just turn on your screen, hit record, talk to it, tell it what you're doing, save the skill, and you're like, okay, that's it. This is fully automated. I recorded it with Claude. Now it works 100% of the time, every time, because it probably won't unless it's a very, very super simple process. You're probably going to have to run it a couple times, test it, configure it, throw some intentional errors at it, throw some curveballs at it, and then put in logic to counteract those errors so that it does work 100% of the time every time. But with just a little bit of configuration, you can get it to work. But yeah, like I said, this used to be a big part of my job. I would come into a new department on my boss's guidance, on leadership's guidance, and I'd sit down with the managers and team, and I would say, okay, tell me what you guys are doing, show me what you're doing. Let's talk about your process. I would write it all down in my notebook. If you've ever worked with me, I used to carry around these big 5-star notebooks like you would see a college kid do. And they used to tease me because I'd walk around with these notebooks and say I look like a professor or something, and I'd write everything down, and then map out their workflow. I'd sit with them at their computer and I'd say, okay, let's take screenshots, or they would go get a cup of coffee. I would take screenshots of everything, email myself all the screenshots. I used to have to type up the standard operating procedure, walk the tech team through that standard operating procedure, document everything in the project management software. We used to use Jira, but whatever software you use, I've used Rally, Monday.com, all that stuff. We used to use this thing called HBQC for testing, and yeah, and then we get to work, and by get to work, I mean what Claude has done with one click, and that is just record and create the skill, and we then would start to systematically, programmatically automate the process, put the process inside a UAT, get the managers back in a room, and you know create a UAT, let it run a couple times, and they would do exactly what I just explained to you. They would say, well, what happens if it does this? What happens if it does this? It doesn't always do that. And so we would take all those test cases, we would run the tests. Back in those days, all the tests were manual. So we had, if it wasn't me myself, we would have someone that was in charge of testing would run through all those tests, whether a browser-based UI test or something local on the computer for a particular piece of software they had. And yeah, we would go back and forth. This would take months, guys. people. You get it done with one guy, one gal, maybe another person looking at the skill going. You could feed the skill to another provider, another LLM like a Chat GPT, and have Chat GPT test it for you, and that's it. It's done. So you don't even need a second person. But I would recommend you work in a team. You definitely want to have people looking at this stuff for you. But technically, you can have one provider run the skill, create the skill, and then you can have a second provider test the skill. But yeah, it's very exciting what's happening. You see that the workplace, the workforce is aggressively moving towards autonomizing, systemizing everything. And what I mean by aggressively is what we are seeing now, and I hope I'm not preaching to the choir here, guys. If I am, just, turn this off. But the kind of features and functions we are seeing being released, we used to see happen years and years apart, years at a time. Now these things are happening weeks at a time. I mean, it was only maybe 2 weeks ago that ChatGPT rolled out its new model, Opus rolled out its new model. Um, the live transcription feature where you just talk to it and it creates a skill was rolled out. Um, the co-working features were rolled out. I mean, this has all happened within the past couple weeks, the past couple months. And when you think about that kind of trajectory and what's going to happen in 2 years, the workplace is going to look very, very different. All of the things that we used to do, myself included, you're not going to need to do anymore because these things will once you record a skill like this and you get the skill working, the whole process may take you 5 minutes, 15 minutes every day. You may run this process once a day, twice a day. Once you fully autonomize it and it's having the computer run it, for lack of a better explanation, you don't need to run it at 1x speed. You can run it at 8x speed. And so the 15-minute process gets done in 2 minutes. And you multiply that across the entire workforce. So it's amazing. It is so astonishing. It is so exciting with how fast everything is moving. But that's the purpose of the talk today. Check out Claude's record a skill feature. It is super easy to use. Get it going. Think about, what is it that I'm doing every day? What is it that I'm doing every week? Think, is there a way to automate this? Is there a way that I can have this systematically run? Or is it a super complex process that only I can do it? Now, you know, from when I first started my career, immediately I was thrown into a scenario. I was working with these Six Sigma guys, and very old school, Jack Welch, old school kind of business way of doing things. And they kind of drilled into our heads, because I was part of a class. They drilled into our heads, like, think about things in terms of systematically. When you sit down with a manager, when you sit down with an executive, think systematically. Can we break this process down into small logical steps? Can we put checks in place at every step and then fully autonomize this process? And, this was 20, 25 years ago. We were doing stuff like this. So um, it's just amazing to see that now, the average Joe, just a regular guy like myself, can just sit down, hit record, and boom, it's done. So very, very exciting. Go check it out. I'm very curious to know, what are you guys seeing? Let me know. Like, when you're using this thing, are you finding bugs? Are you finding errors? Like, what's not working for you? Or what are you excited about? What are you going to use this for? As always, guys, if you want to talk about this stuff, give me a call. I would love to talk to you about it. If you want to set this up for your personal business, or if you work for a medium or large scale organization and you want to start getting your workforce to record the things that they're doing on a daily basis to automate it. And maybe you're doing some of those recordings and it's kind of quirky. It's breaking along the way. Give me a call. I would love to help you take a look at that and streamline it. As always, remember to hustle harder. Have a great day. Like I said, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. It's a beautiful summer day. Try and get outside, try and get some sun. And let's talk again soon. All right. Bye.